the traditional routine, the 5-day split, also called conventional split. You're splitting your muscle groups pretty aggressively. First, let's talk about the pros and cons.
You're there for the same amount of time as the other ones because we're recommending the same amount of sets, but you're isolating that to one body part.
That high volume, it goes a long way to ensure that that muscle is getting the entire amount of work it needs done for that week. And then you have the rest of the week to rest that muscle group. And rest is significant to growth.
Maintain the habit of going to the gym when it's part of a daily routine rather than a weekly routine.
There is no defined structure. You kind of have to understand, you kind of have to trial and error. Straight beginner, you don't know where to start. Start with what I do and then do chest, back, legs, shoulder, arms. It's a nice separation. It's real, I feel like it's a traditional way to do things. And just run with it. Welcome back to Lucid Fitness Podcast. I'm Erik and this is Sarah. And today we'll be talking about our last episode of Build Your Own Workout. Previously we talked about building a push-pull legs routine, an upper-lower routine, and a full body routine. But this week we're going to talk about the traditional routine, the 5-day split, also called conventional split or bro split, or I don't even really know what the actual name of it is. I call it either conventional split or bro split. The traditional 5-day a week, the 9 to 5 type morning routine or afterwards routine, and then take the weekends off is usually how it's done. With the 5-day a week, usually you're splitting your muscle groups pretty aggressively. That's one of the things about it is you're able to split each muscle group into its own day, and you hit those muscle groups once a week usually. And we'll talk about different versions of it where you do some legs twice, but for the most part, it's you have one day back, one day chest, one day shoulders, one day legs, and then one day arms. And that arms is kind of where I usually change things up, but that's the most conventional bro.
That's the normal one.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That it works, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people do it because it's nice to have those back day and chest day and shoulder, those days where you can look forward to specific muscle groups without tainting that workout with some other muscle group that you don't like working out, right? And first, let's talk about the pros and cons of doing this, like we did in the previous episodes where we talked about the pros and cons of PPL and upper lower. What would you say are the pros of splitting your muscle groups like this?
I would say that the pros of doing a 5-day split are, for me, you're there for the same amount of time as the other ones because we're recommending the same amount of sets, but you're isolating that to one body part, whether it's your back, your chest, your shoulders, your legs. So that 5 different exercises, those multiple compound movements and then multiple isolation movements are located in one area rather than trying to spread them out all over because you don't want to be there for 3 hours. That's what I like the most about a 5-day split.
Yeah, that's one of the main pros is being able to completely exhaust a single muscle group. And that high volume, it goes a long way to ensure that that muscle is getting the entire amount of work it needs done for that week. And then you have the rest of the week to rest that muscle group. And rest is significant to growth. And so when you have that full week to recover your back, going into your next Monday back that your back's fully recovered usually, right? Like I've done some extremely high volume workouts where it doesn't feel fully recovered, but usually you're fully recovered in a week. And so that's one of the additional pros of it is being able to fully recover. And like you said, having the full volume on that single muscle group. And honestly, and another pro that I would say that's more, abstract, I guess, or for lack of a better term, I think it feels good, right? To get a massive back pump, and getting that massive back pump or getting, the arm pump or getting the shoulder pump, it's harder to do with like lower volume that you'd see on like a full body, because you don't have enough volume to truly get like that blood completely flowing
Right.
without doing, high reps or something weird like that. But
I would also say another pro though is you are in the gym 5 days a week.
yeah,
Like it's easier to develop and maintain the habit of going to the gym
yeah,
when it's part of a daily routine rather than a weekly routine.
yeah,
The more you get away from every single day, it's harder to maintain the routine of something. So, yes, you're only working one muscle group like your shoulders or your back, but you are able to then do 20 minutes of cardio or 20 minutes of walking and then be done and go home and either have dinner and be ready for your evening or get ready for work or whatever whenever you're going to the gym. But it's easier to maintain a gym habit on that 5-day split.
yeah. It fits into routines really well. It fits into that 9 to 5. I do all my work Monday through Friday, including my physical body work.
Mhm.
For some people that's a good thing, for some people that's bad, right? Like if you're somebody whose job is so demanding or physically demanding, it may be a pain to go after or before work every day, right? Like
Yeah,
I can only
it's
imagine,
true.
some warehouse employees who couldn't imagine, like you're lifting boxes all day to get off and go to the gym every night after work. It may be a no-go. So I can see that being both a pro and a con, but I do,
Mhm.
for me specifically, I've always liked bro splits, like conventional splits, because they do go into, if you're a schedule oriented person, it's a really good way of like scheduling, because
Yeah.
it already fits into the normal schedule that people are following.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're also not there forever. Sometimes like I feel with the full body or the push-pull legs, it feels like you're in the gym for 2 hours
Yeah.
or 3 hours and you're like, okay, I'm exhausted. I have no more glucose. I cannot do this anymore.
Right.
I like that you can kind of get in, get your pump. You don't run all the way out of your glycogen stores. You're able to then get on with your day.
Yeah. And that's where we'll talk about this more later. Like that's where we target the 12 to 15 is if you're doing 15 sets of back and they're, heavy, you're mixing up the exercises, doing,
Mhm.
3 or 4 exercises, your back's going to be pretty toasted,
Mhm.
right? If you're doing it right, if you're using enough weight, you're doing enough reps, you're going to be pretty toasted. And it's nice to, just get in, like you said, get in, hit it and leave. And it is a good thing to do, because you still feel like you hit the muscle group, because you presumably did the full 15 sets into
Mhm.
the back or the shoulders, whatever it may be. And so yeah, it's really good at that. And I guess now would be a good opportunity. Like, what are the downsides of the conventional split? I feel like we upsold it and made it seem like, oh well, why wouldn't you do a conventional split?
Well, I would definitely say like you brought up, you know, same time pro con of if this is something that is hard for you to fit into your schedule, if you work 12-hour shifts, if you do heavy physical labor all the time, the idea of going to the gym every single day could be something that's not a benefit for you. Like that's not something you want to do. So of course that would be a con, right?
Yeah,
And then for people who really feel the best in their body when they are training multiple muscle groups at a time. Like there are some people who, especially if they lean more towards like a calisthenics or something, they want to do a full body routine. I know you were in that place in your 20s, right? Where you wanted to get a full body and you didn't really feel like you worked out until you did. If you're in that mindset, that you wouldn't feel like you did very much.
yeah. Being able to go 5 days a week, that's largely subjective. So yeah, like you're saying, it's either a pro or a con. But that's a good point. Is like there there is value in working muscle groups together.
Mhm.
You learn how your biceps work with your back, and as we've talked about previously, like it's hard to hit your back without hitting your biceps,
Mm.
right? And it's hard to hit your chest without hitting your triceps, especially for beginners, because it's hard to separate those things,
Mhm.
right? And you could never fully separate them, but there is an element of like learning these muscle groups together. And I personally, and I touched on it a little bit earlier, I personally enjoy working biceps with back and triceps with chest,
Right.
because they feel like they go together. And the pump is stronger when you have both your arms and your chest or back pumped. Like it feels more natural to me. And I've never been a big person in having an arm day.
Yeah.
I think it's a beginner trap. And we were talking about this earlier, actually.
It's a beginner man trap.
Yeah.
I don't think women are going to the gym and going, I'm doing it only arm day.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
If you have small arms and that's your goal, do it, right?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to
absolutely
dissuade you, but understand the reality is, like, if you want bigger arms, you got to get bigger everywhere, right? You very rarely see somebody with like massive arms who aren't big elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's occasions, right? People who just do a bunch of bicep curls will grow biceps, but usually your arms are about as big as the rest of your body. And so I generally, if I'm going to do a 5-day a week, and we've done 5-day a week, I'll drop off arms, put it into like a pseudo push pull. So do back buys together, shoulders by itself, chest tries together, legs, and then have a second leg day.
Yeah, that's my favorite because it fits both our needs, because we like and enjoy working out together. I'm not going to do an arm day. 2 leg days? Hell yeah, sign me up. But I'm not going to do just an arm day. And I also like being able to do shoulders the day before chest.
Yeah.
Because for me, I didn't train chest until we started training together. So that was the majority of my workout career. I didn't train chest. So my mind muscle connection to my chest is very poor. And my shoulders will always want to take over the exercise. So for me, I have found that when we do shoulders the day before, they're cooked, they're toasted. And so they're not trying to take over the workout that should be the chest muscle. And my brain is able to go, well, this hurts, so let's try something else. And for some reason, that just clicks on my ability to feel my pectoral muscles. I don't know why, but maybe that's something you should also play around with, is kind of figuring out, like, maybe exhausting something when you're trying to work something else could be a great benefit.
Right, and I think this is a good segue away from pros and cons. We really didn't mention a huge amount of cons, but whatever, we'll move on. There is no defined structure. You kind of have to understand, like, you kind of have to trial and error. Like, I personally like back and chest early into the week separated from arms if I'm going to have an arms day, because they are also hitting arms. So I put arms at the end of the week, and then chest and back in the beginning, and then legs right in the middle, separate everything, and then shoulders before arms. Because you're hitting your triceps with shoulders, but lesser extent than with your chest. And I personally separate shoulders and chest, because they just, to me, they're one and the same. I'm a big incline pusher, so if I'm doing chest, I'm hitting my shoulders as well. But it really depends. Some people like to open with their legs, just get their legs out of the way, because if you push them Friday, then it's like, it's Friday, I'll take a leg day off, and you get trapped. But I think that you have to figure out what works for you. Some people like a very rigid, this is what I do. I mix it up sometimes too, because if you can still put that, especially once you start getting more practice and more recovery, you start understanding that you can go, 5 days instead of 7 days between a workout and be fully recovered. I think for most people who are training regularly, anything more than 3 days is just kind of icing, unless you're going very, very high volume. But yeah, kind of structure it however you want. I would say if you're a straight beginner, you don't know where to start with what I do, and then do chest, back, legs, shoulder, arms. It's a nice separation. It's real. I feel like it's a traditional way to do things, and just run with it. And some people do the chest first, but if you do chest first, you're going to see at some gyms, if you do chest on Monday, you're not getting any equipment, because
everyone else does chest on Monday.
It's like people like chest, right? Times have changed a lot, so maybe it's not that way anymore. Because I feel like sometimes we go on Mondays, we do legs on Mondays a lot of times.
Yeah, and everyone's doing
doing. I feel like it's just whatever you're doing, everyone else is like, I'll just try shoulders on Monday. But Moving on. So in all the previous episodes, we've kind of told you our recommended set amount, and you touched on it pretty early in this conversation. 12 to 15 for beginners.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's especially good amount for this routine because you're only hitting the one large muscle group.
Yep.
And it's just, honestly, it's a sweet spot for beginner. If you're doing it right, go in, hit 12 to 15 sets, right? And then I would say 3 to 4 exercises. If you're doing 4 exercises for 15 sets, you would drop off one of them because you'd have 4 by 4 would be 16. You drop one off however you want to do it. If you want to do 15 different exercises, you can. Don't recommend it. Usually want to do about 3 sets, or you're going to be like, you spend a lot of time like moving
around. Yeah, you're going to be walking a lot, and you're going to run the risk of planning out, I'm going to do this, and you get 4 in, and that machine's taken, and you're doing something else, and you're diverted, and it's, I like the idea of, pick your 2 compound movements, and you're either 1 isolation or 2 compound movements in 2 isolations, and just do it. And if you don't like it, pick a different one next week.
And that's, a great segue into the final portion of this episode is what exercises should we be doing like for each thing. And I don't know if you've watched all the other episodes, this may be repetitive, but for us and how we do things and how we at Lucid Fitness recommend people do things is kind of a trial and error. I do recommend starting like on back day, you start with a big pull like a barbell or a dumbbell row. But there's nothing to say you can't do cable row or some other row, like machine row. Do a row, a bent over row. Do some sort of lat pull down.
Yeah.
Do, some sort of face pulls. We usually do like a face pull or a reverse fly on back day. Chest day, pretty traditional chest movements. Most people know them. Do a bench press, either dumbbell or barbell. Do flat incline, decline. Just choose one. Do some sort of fly movement with dumbbells or the machines, and then kind of pick and choose from there. You can do push-ups. I like to do push-ups sometimes. Honestly, I feel like I can get a pump with push-ups that I can't get with other movements for some reason. But it's just without the progressive overload. Like it's kind of you're doing
like if you're doing a bunch of if you get someone to help put plates on your back, I guess don't do whatever.
I don't think that's the recommended. I don't think it can be healthy for your spine to put weights on your back. But I don't know enough about push-ups to say whether it's healthy or not. But choose some movements. We always recommend Googling it. For legs day, again, start with the big ones, either deadlift or squat, because if you put those last, you'll regret it.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to do them is what's going to happen.
Right, exactly. You're like, I've already done like all these machines. I don't want to do squats, right? Like do all the hard stuff first. That's why people do leg day on Monday. It's like get the hard
thing out
stuff
of the way.
Right.
Yeah, something, just those big compound, think as compound multi-joint. So if you're moving multiple things, you're using all the muscles in together. I mean, obviously in different amounts, but you're using all the muscles together. That's a compound movement.
Right.
Whatever that is.
Focused on the specific muscle group.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're doing a chest day, you don't need, like you can have some leg drive, but you don't really need to be, worrying about your hips moving, for the most part you're pressing. But choose an exercise for each of those and just kind of fill it out and try things and Google like what are the best chest exercises, and it's going to say
there's going to be like 30 of them.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own opinion and everyone has different anatomy.
Right.
So something that works great for you might not work great for me. Something that feels like a great chest pump for you could feel like, nothing to me. Like, I'm not doing anything. This is awful. I hate it.
Right. We talked about that before. Like there's scientifically optimal exercises, like the most engaged chest you can ever get. But again, if you don't like incline dumbbell press or whatever the best is nowadays, it's not going to matter if it's 42% better than, the barbell version. Like like nobody really, some people think like that, but I think that leads to analysis paralysis. So it's better to just try exercises, find the ones you like and try to be balanced about it. It's like, you like bicep curls, but you also got to do some other things, right? You got to do some hammer curls. You got to do some reverse curls.
The benefit of that being you're going to the gym 5 days a week you have a lot of opportunities to try lots of things. You're there. Yes, you know you have a whole week to plan. Okay, well, next week I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and the week after that I'm going to do, E, F, and G. You have a lot of opportunities to cycle through things and test things and explore things while still being consistent and having lots of time to rest that body part before going into it the next time.
Right. And it's part of the reason we avoid giving rigid routines. Not only will our app generate them, like random generate you a routine if you want, but I think especially for beginners, like the first year is highly exploratory. So you need to learn what movements work for your body, what movements feel, you don't want to feel good, but there's movements that feel like, okay, this feels better than that other one,
Yeah.
And so figuring out what those are so that you can build a sustainable workout routine for your body, right? And your personality, and what your goals, right? And again, touching back on the double leg day, like if you're a woman or even a dude and you don't need that arms day, drop it off at that second legs day. It's game changer to have it.
Absolutely. Right? I love having a front of legs and a back of legs one day, and then lots of time to rest, and then do it again at the end of the week. Oh, perfection. I love it.
Yeah.
It's for me the best. But again, everything is exploratory at this point, and we want you to feel encouraged to explore, and then also freedom to go, I really liked this for 6 weeks and now I hate it. So you can do something else.
It was you telling me, it's like people who start, they do the first, was it you who's telling me this? They continue to do the first routine they start with for the rest of their time. And you shouldn't do that. You should try new things. And so by giving you like, this is what we're going to do. This is Lucid Fitness workout routine. You're going to do this. We don't want you to be stuck on this routine we give you for the rest of your life. We want you to learn what it means to actually do fitness, right? And fitness is beyond just going to the gym and following somebody else's routine. It's learning what works for you, your body, and growing in that environment.
Yeah, it's the gym. You will quickly learn. You walked in thinking this is about body growth, and it's actually a lot more mental growth.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that is true. It's a statistic that when someone walks into the gym for the first time, the first thing that they do is statistically the thing they will continue to do, especially if there's a lot of anxiety. If you walk into the gym, you're scared, you don't want to talk to anybody, it's very full, and you go to that treadmill and that's what you do, most likely every time you go back to the gym, that's what you're going to do, and then you're going to leave. So we want you guys to have confidence and be able to walk in, go, I know what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You do something else the next time. You come and ask in the Discord, I didn't like it. Give me something else. We are happy to help you do that. But we want you to grow your muscles and grow as a person in the gym.
Right, for sure. And broaden your horizons of what fitness actually is. Because I feel like, again, if you're on the internet just watching things, you haven't breached that going to the gym for the first time yet. You have this perspective of the fitness world that honestly is an illusion. But that's besides the point. We're gonna, after this season, is this a season? I guess this is the last episode of this. So after this season, we're gonna start shooting some actual like beginner or from your home where to start routines. So after this episode, we're gonna start dropping, and we're gonna go through each of these workouts. We're gonna design a real quick one that you can do from your home with just really small amount of equipment, and we're gonna walk you through those things. Walk you through the steps of getting from I've never worked out before, I need to learn to work out so that I can get to the gym, and kind of walking you through the process of what you need to do now that we've talked your ear off about all of these different
workout options. We've given you all the options, and now we want to be able to hand you something that you could choose to follow, or at least give you inspiration idea that doesn't even involve you leaving your home just yet, if that's not something you're comfortable with doing.
Right. And we try to drop an episode once a week, problems here or there if we forget or something like that. But like and subscribe, and you'll get some updates on when we start dropping this other one. If you're looking forward to start your routine, this is going to be a good time. This is going to be a good catalyst for you if you've been following along. We do appreciate you. Come join us on Discord if you have any questions or anything that you need help getting started. It's free. There's no cost at all. You can interact directly with us. I'm on the computer most of the day, so it's very easy if you have some questions to drop in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.